Hi there, Brook from Stickmen Media. Oops, you almost can't see. Which side? That side? So terribly sorry for starting off late today. We had a presentation to do and it ran overtime. So today we're actually doing, I think if I turn that back on, we are doing some, we're looking at King Leon's second attack sequence. Yes. Yeah, that's right. So, so King Leon's an important character in After the Light. He's a end-level boss, so his attacks, his animations, all very important. So I'll just start that movie running, and oops, not sure how I got. Oh, okay, it is going.
So the first one?
Is this the first one?
Yes. That's fine. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so this is the end of the first one.
Yeah.
I think.
Just fix some small things.
Okay, so this is an overhand swing that.
Yeah. Do you remember last time I said I actually moved adjust the timeline so we could make the weapon shows like more heavy, like heavier than
yes.
before. So I just adjust the time, so we can feel King Leon when King Leon just like attack in that moment, and shorten the time so we could feel the weapon is heavier.
So I guess it's hard to see here because we've speeded him up. So yes. I think this has been speeded up like 3 1/4 times so that we can fit it all in an hour. But yes, so you've added or you've changed the way that the time works so that his upswing starts slower and his downswing finishes.
Upswing,
yeah.
downswing. Yeah.
Basically to look like there's more resistance from gravity, essentially. So
yes. Just
so
like
it actually looks like that sword is not a camera tripod, but actually some really heavy piece of metal. So where do we actually start the next one?
I think it will be
okay, and he's given it a good chop there, look. He's chopping wood. Actually, even speed it up, you can see that that sword looks like it's got real weight to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little adjustments to the head there.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes those little adjustments are all very important in creating realism, aren't they?
Yes.
And once again, doing a bit of smoothing of the...
Yeah, I think we could just go back a little bit, go forward about...
No, we can't because we're already...
Okay.
So it's already shortened so that it's an hour. If we go forward, we run out of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. But okay. So actually, there's me on the reference thing behind, getting ready for a big swing.
Yeah.
Is that an overhead chop that I'm about to do, or is this a swing? And that looks like the front view. So that's from the... Yeah, so the way we set up, this is a very simple technique, or really awesome technique actually, called rotoscoping. So if you don't have full motion capture equipment, you do rotoscoping, which is you catch video from the front and the sides, and you can actually match up the motion with those video.
Or if you can, you could also set a camera on the top.
Yes, and in fact in some cases we need a camera on the top, like when Margaret was doing her crawl.
Yes.
We actually needed to film from on top as well.
Yeah.
In fact, because we only had 2 cameras, I think we chose on top rather than in front, didn't we?
Yes.
So we had the side and on top. But that worked out very well, so clearly that's all we needed. They just asked us in that presentation actually if we had motion capture stuff, and I said no, and we're up there on stage and Margaret said yes we do. But I think she meant Sergi's stuff, which is not ours.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've actually used it seriously. It's probably worth having a go with.
Yeah.
But you don't really like cleaning up the motion capture data as such.
But I still have the interest for the motion capture stuff. Because
Okay.
I never tried.
So we should have a go at actually
Yeah.
doing some stuff. One of the differences with motion capture over rotoscoping is keyframes. In motion capture, every frame is a keyframe, so that's how it captures such fine subtlety in human movement. But it's a bit of a pain in the backside from the point of view of animating, because you really need to clean that stuff up. Some of that variation is not good. Some of it's just the equipment actually twitching out a bit, and you need to actually straighten it up and sort it out. And if everything's a keyframe, then this smoothing problem is really difficult. So what generally happens is the first thing you do is you delete a whole bunch of those keyframes between two frames that you think are going to make good intermediate points, essentially, to match the animation.
Just to find some key pose. And
yeah,
then
key pose, that's the word I was looking
yes.
for. Yeah. So that's you, isn't it? You recognise the key poses.
Yeah, that's if we just create the animation by hand, also we just firstly just find the key time and put the pose on that very important time, and that we call key pose.
Okay.
Just like it's like very important pose to and then you link those poses, you can get the whole animation.
Okay, and then once you've got those key poses and all the intermediate keyframes deleted, then you can do this job, which is smoothing out between those things, so you can get rid of all the little bumps and hiccups that actually happen along the way. So we're still working on the first.
Yeah, at the time it looks like longer than I thought.
Yeah, probably should have had a look and deleted the first one, but nonetheless they won't have seen this bit of cleanup from your first video on King Leon's attack, because essentially you hadn't finished it when we actually did that presentation. So this is what you did afterwards. Now what's that interesting display on the right hand side, just for those that don't know?
The right hand, that is
the multicolored thing.
Animation curves.
Okay. And that's for
the when I smooth the animation.
Yeah.
And also it's a very quick way to select the some like keyframes and delete those keyframes.
Yeah.
Because I got a script from 30, it could select all the joints which are keyed, so I won't miss any of them.
So were we having a look at a lot of joints on that page, or were we just having a look at one joint when we saw that?
All the joints.
All the joints.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can in one go you can delete a bunch of keyframes from all the joints in the actual model, and that's what that script does.
Yeah. Also, I can
good
move.
Script.
Also, I can move the keyframe to the front or to the how can I say, later.
Yeah. And what you're doing here, of course, is once again moving those the bones that are in the skirt.
Yeah.
So you put bones in the skirt so that it's got
yeah.
a little bit of flexibility,
Yeah.
and you're moving them now
Yes.
in the tweening poses so that you're not clipping through the leg as King Leon
Yes.
does his moves. And this is fairly arduous stuff, isn't it? You've got to do this over and over again. Every time you move him, you've got to stop the...
Yes, that's why I actually create another poly.
Mhm.
It's I delete all the just skirt, and I just show the legs, because I just firstly I will finish the main body's animation, and after I think I have done all the I feel it's very good, then I will go back to extra bones to adjust the skirt, or maybe other character have some like long hair or long belt, so we can do that extra animations in the end.
Mm-hmm.
then we can avoid if we have some need some pose changed, so we could avoid to redo those animations again.
Yeah. And we've got an extra complication with King Leon, haven't we? In that we've got to do some joining animations to join, like his walking to his attacks,
Yeah.
because he finishes a walk with an attack at a particular point. So, how much time do you think it will take to actually do those connecting animations, or how much would each one take?
For that animation, actually, just like changing from this pose to another, and then the middle animation, I won't do it too long. I will see if we need to change the foot position, the legs position. If like the leg is the pose is have very different between two poses, then it will take longer. But if we just change the you look like stop again. If we just need to just like from the idle to the walking, and because we have different hand holding the sword position, so we have to add some frames between, and then we could grab the sword and raise it, carry it on the shoulder. For that animation, I suppose just need maybe at least 30 frames, means just 1 minute or 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're actually doing the second attack here now, aren't we?
Oh yes.
So
I didn't notice that.
So that's me with my camera tripod,
Yeah.
taking a swing at Margaret. Actually, she was in a position to do a little bit of a clapper thing in front of the camera.
Yes. So we can.
For us.
We can.
So I
know
wasn't
which
really
time
taking a
is.
swing at her.
Yes.
I was taking a swing towards camera. Okay. Now the clapping is basically creating a sound and a visual thing that allows you to actually synchronize the two cameras, right?
Yes.
So you can find that sound in particular in the
Soundtrack.
in the soundtrack of each movie,
Yes.
and synchronize them so that when you're matching up motion from the side and the front, you've got an exact sort of point,
Yes.
which is really very clever.
It's very clever and easy to do.
So yes, makes you wonder why the movie industry worries with clapperboards, because
Yeah, no, I got it. That means
Although, of course,
you could cut from here, right?
I think the reason they do it in the movie industry is they do record sound separately as well to the actual film.
Yeah.
So they'll record the film, and they might be recording sound on the film, but they're also doing high quality sound
Yeah.
with a whole other rig, and that needs to be synced up with the film as well.
Yeah. Also, you can see now I just include based on the video reference, we found some key pose, and then just pose the character just same or similar as Brook pose.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like maybe your sword will go to the highest point, and another one is in the frontest point, and then the lowest one. That's 3 point pose, key pose, and then we linked from the 1 to 3 pose. Then we can get like a sword attack animation.
And the thing about those keyframes is the more closely you want to follow the human movement, the more keyframes you actually leave in.
Yes.
But so choosing your key poses, if you want to be more closer to the actual human, you would actually put in more key poses.
Yes.
Yeah.
But always remember is do less you can in the first in the first round,
Yep.
and then you could add other extra keyframes between them, so you could save lots of time to do the job.
Yeah, you certainly don't want to, at this stage, you don't want more keyframes than you need, because for each keyframe, of course, you've got another curve that actually needs smoothing, essentially.
Yeah. And always, just like all the attack animation, we always have the prepare and then just like do the attack. Then you need to remember to go back to the first pose. That's the loop we need. Then we can replay it again and again. And we also could link, change to another attack, because our first frame are same, so we could just like no gap between them, and you could see or we can link all the animation and again, then you will feel just very naturally.
Yeah. So yes, so the loop, it's important to go back to the beginning of a move at the end of the move, not only for the move that you're doing so that it's a cycle, but also so you can blend into some other move where you're trying to actually have also consistent start and end points. Yeah. And there's tools in the game engine to sort of make this easier, but ultimately the best result you're going to get is if you've actually managed to have that close the loop, essentially, having that end frame the same as the beginning frame. Well, I look like I'm taking it seriously there. Look at the grumpy look on my face. Okay, so being very accurate on matching my foot movements. Yeah. It really is intriguing seeing some other thing doing your movements. Apart from the weirdness of seeing yourself on screen in the first place, it's really weird watching somebody else do your thing.
I just finished the first key pose setting.
Okay. So I noticed in putting this together, so there's about 3.5 hours of work in this thing.
Actually, it's more. I just select parts of them.
Okay. So selective, so nobody gets to see the screw-ups or anything. Or going off to get a coffee or lunch.
I just remove some arrow icons. No, I'm kidding. It's just like so many things, just repeat again. And I think the important thing is I just record all the things I think very important.
So it's still funny seeing his bare arms with his bare skeleton, because his face is just mummified. I'm not sure in my mind if we're doing the right thing or if we should actually just add some skin to those bony arms. So still keep it so you can see the bones, but just fill in the gaps, I guess, with a coating of skin.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. Oh yeah, I'm really taking that seriously. I had a lot of fun doing that. It's not often I get to be an action hero. Or action villain even, which is what this guy is.
And for this animation, I actually constrain using the left hand constrain the sword, and also the right hand constrain the sword. So it's kind of like a parent constraint. So the sword will follow by the right hand, but the left hand should always follow holding the sword. So I also constrain the right hand by left hand by right hand. So that means when I key to the I always need to think about which hand is like left hand. then that one will just like fly away, cause some problem. So at this point, I didn't do any keyframe for the left hand, also left arms. I just finished.
So it's just following basically.
Yeah. Just like but you can see for some pose, when we need to do extreme action, and that shoulder actually need to do some to change some angle to fit that pose. So I just finish all the other animations first, then I just redo the left hand, left arm part in the end.
So we've actually discussed this before, that sometimes when you put together these motions for a character, you as an actor are not necessarily as constrained as that character is by things like his armour, or in our case you had some problem with the helmet.
Yep.
So trying to do an overhand thing, and those horns were actually going to hook up the arms.
Yeah.
And I wasn't wearing horns on my head, so I didn't have that problem.
Yes.
So you have to go and do a whole lot of work to make it possible for that to happen, and what you've done on that shoulder there actually helps him make that swing.
And we try not to cross the body, but actually sometimes you cannot avoid that. So just try our best to do the good action animation, and as possible try the very less cross the body part, just like a balance between them.
Yeah, I think one of the things, I think somebody was telling me about Halo actually, that Master Chief, if you actually tried to wear Master Chief's armour, your arms actually had to, or your shoulders had to be something like nearly a foot further out, so that you could actually wear his armour and still move your arms. So for most people, they wouldn't be able to do it. They'd be yeah. But yeah, I never did see how you actually fixed up the helmet problem, so anxious to see what happens there. Was that the overhead chop in the first one that that had to be fixed for?
No, this one we didn't do that cross head part.
Okay.
Yeah, that part I just need to raise the shoulder armor.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the pauldrons, even the metal pauldrons, actually had to be pushed back out the way a bit to enable it to happen.
Yeah, but from the cross the head is a very quick motion, so actually it didn't see you couldn't see any just like a very big across the helmet movement, because I put the hand a little bit on the front.
Okay.
So it's kind of like fix that problem.
We should probably do an outtake where he chops his horns off or something.
I was thinking about when he want to move this sword, actually he cut his sword. It's very like the self-suicide.
Yeah. Straight across the throat.
And his head will fall down. Just my thing.
Be very funny if he swears as well. Oh, bugger. Although you'd wonder what he's swearing with if he's chopped his head off. Have you got an Apple Watch?
Oh yeah, because my husband always annoying. I just missed his phone call.
Ah, right, okay.
Because you remember.
So he's got you on a tight leash there with your Apple Watch.
Because he bought his last year. It's because during that time Diego always using my phone to test our
right.
app. So and I always just too close all the sand, so he cannot find me.
All right, so we're using your phone for testing. You're getting in trouble with your husband. Oh, very good. I suppose we should get an iPhone 10 for the shop, but what are you? 6 Plus, isn't it yours?
Yes, I think it's 6S Plus.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's old for now. But I don't want to.
Because we do have
buy
another
more.
iPhone 6 that they can use, but yes, it is a different screen size, so the 6 Plus is useful. So he got you an Apple Watch. That's a cool way to score an Apple Watch, though. I wish I had somebody that anxious to get hold of me that they'd buy me an Apple Watch. Is it any good? Do you count your steps? Do you do all that sort of stuff on it? See how fit you are?
Yeah, every hour he will mention me that you should stand up and just walk for a while.
Does that do the tap on the wrist thing to do that?
Not always.
Okay. I might find that annoying, actually.
I just using it as my just like alarm. But it's very useful to if you can't remember where your phone put it, so you could find your phone by your watch.
Ah, that's a good idea, because that's one of the things I do, is I actually lose my phone.
Yeah.
All sorts of places. Down the back of the couch, I've lost it in bed.
Yeah.
I took off my jacket once, and it dropped out of the pocket and into the sleeve. So even though I checked the pockets of the jacket, I couldn't find the phone. It was actually in the sleeve.
Yeah.
In the car. I've left it in the car before.
Yeah.
And only once I left it at a cafe, which is not good. But I managed to ring it from somebody else's phone, and some very nice girl at the cafe said, "You've lost your phone, haven't you?"
That's good.
Yeah. It was only about, don't tell Margaret, it was only about a week old at that stage. So it's iPhone 10, brand new iPhone 10, a week old, and I left it in the cafe.
Yeah, I always forgot my stuff and leave it in the restaurant or somewhere else. It's just like it's very normal. But the people in Christchurch are very kind. So every time when I lost something, I always can find them.
Yeah. Yeah, mostly Christchurch is pretty good that way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I said don't tell Margaret, but here we are actually streaming it to the world that I lost my phone in the first week. Well, the world, our viewer. I can't even see how many people are on. There's a couple. Very good. All right, so what are we actually doing now?
We're still on the pose, and also I think we just did some smooth on the animation curves.
Mm-hmm. Now, one of the things you didn't have on my camera tripod was an idea of where the flat part of the sword was, so which way the...
Oh, yes.
So you have got the idea, though, you're sort of laying it flat during the swipe, so... So that would be your judgment, because the camera tripod just doesn't have a flat edge, so...
Yeah.
It's amazing when you actually look at when I actually look at these things, the things I realise that it's all judgment on your part, that there really was no reference or no way to actually capture that.
Yeah, just like if we don't have the reference, actually I could do the same like animation or action when I do the animation, but because I can't see myself on the mirror, so like before, sometimes I will go to the toilet to see some angle and some like pose. But if I just stay on the computer, and it's hard to see the whole body's motion.
Do the women in the toilet think you're weird when they go in and you're doing this stuff?
Or just no one will see that crazy moment.
You just loiter there until they leave, so do your sword play.
But it's a very good idea if we could have a mirror on
Yeah.
our office.
We've certainly got plenty of wall space to put a mirror, so we should do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought of it. I've just realised too, the other thing that you can't see, because you're filming from the side and somebody's filming from the front, but you can't see the side view of where my hand goes in that at the end of the swing, because it's on the side of the body facing away from you.
Yeah.
So again, you've sort of got to cope with that you don't necessarily have a clear shot of it.
Yeah. But I know the fact is the sword blade it always be on the same way, so you have to know some knowledge.
Yeah.
Or your sword cannot cut the enemy.
So my hand, or rather King Leon's hand, is actually anchored to that sword. So as long as you move the sword, the hand will go to the right place.
Yeah.
As long as you keep the orientation correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm quite like the body movement about the hips. Just like go forward and go back.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very smoothly.
Yes, it looks quite dramatic too. I'm quite pleased with that. I think he's going to be a kick-ass end-level boss, this guy.
I just remember when we do that's the animation about the mower. When we do the kick animation. We did a kick animation for a big bird called mower, and
it's a massive bird in New Zealand. It's like, I think if it was to stand upright, it's like 12 foot high, but it used to go with its head down most of the time, so about 6 foot high, so bigger than an emu.
Yeah, it's
quite
very
a big,
interesting.
Yeah. And yeah, so you had to do the kick animation. So did somebody model that? Who actually modelled that?
I modelled it.
You?
Yeah, with a lot
Where's
of
the film
hair.
of that? Why don't we have film of that? We should put that up here.
Yeah, we can actually record that final animation. I select lots of videos from YouTube, but I forgot the name of that bird.
So yes, so the mower was
one.
the mower was the primary bird, but to actually get the kicks, I think we had to look at a kiwi and a cassowary, didn't we, to actually see those. So a kiwi will actually kick you.
Emu, right?
Emus also kick. Yeah.
Yeah. I select the emu.
Or if you're American, emu.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yes, they certainly kick. We used to have something when I was a kid. We used to have dogs on the farm called kangaroo dogs, and their job was actually hunting kangaroos.
Yeah, oh, that's interesting.
And it's dangerous because kangaroos can actually kick a dog, and with its toenail they can actually slice them open. So
wow.
yeah, really dangerous. But emus will do the same thing. They'll kick with their foot, and that big toenail at the front.
Wow. I just remember before we saw a video is about the mane, just like because the kangaroo is kicked his dog, so it's just like slap face.
Sorry.
It's calling.
That phone I'll have to get back to you later. Yes, I suppose people are expecting I will have finished the stream by now, so they'll be calling me. But we were late starting, so
Yeah.
Yes, it's exactly the time I should be finishing.
And back to the animation, and the very important thing is about the hip rotate and the chest rotate.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're doing the from the right to the left side, so your whole body actually moves a lot.
Yeah.
So it's not
Pivoting from your ankles as well, so your foot's turning, your ankle's turning, knees
Yes.
are turning, hips,
yeah.
body, shoulders,
It's not
everything.
just your arm is do the whole rotation, and it's because your body will give a power to make your arm is doing that big motion. So that's the very key point. When you do some animation, you need to think about your whole body's action.
Yeah, and we can see the controllers you actually set up
Yeah.
To manage the hip movement and.
Yeah. But another thing is about your head, because you need always focus on your enemy. So when you do like those big movement attack animation, you have to always focus to your front. That's why I didn't turn this character head to the like right side or left side, because he is just like in the fight. So if his head is go to other side,
Yeah,
it's
he
not
needs his
good.
focus actually on
Yes.
you essentially.
Yes. So his head will not follow by the chest rotation.
Yeah.
Just focus on the front.
And even just for dramatic content, you really want that to be the case. If you're standing in front of this guy,
Yeah.
you don't want him looking off that way, and that way you want him looking at you. Well, you don't want him to, but that's the scariest thing. That's the part.
Be polite to your enemy. Right?
Yes. Look at me when I'm fighting you.
I could kill you.
Now, if Margaret was here, she'd have done the whole Kath and Kim. Look at me, look at me. She's not. We've got to fill in for Margaret, make Margaret jokes. And Margaret swearing. You first. Okay, so we're getting a view here actually of King Leon as you won't see him in the game, because he does in fact wear a skirt that you've after this I assume you've got to go through and start modifying the bone positions of that skirt so that we
Yes.
don't get clipping through the leg.
Yeah, always do the main joints first.
Yep.
Even when I do the like the body's movement, I will leave just counting like the fingers or the like other leg or legs angle. I will leave it for late, and I will set the like members like hip and chest and
hello.
head part. The fingers actually are not moved a lot. That's why for some character we just we are forget to set. Not for actually forget is in purpose to on purpose to just delete all the finger joints.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yes, so in fact the fingers are only really moving around the sword. They're sort of locked in position all by themselves.
Yeah, but for our game, it's because the zombies need some like very horrible. They need to attack you by the arm and your hands. So we actually set the finger joints for every finger. And of course for King Leon, even his finger are not do a lot of movement, but we still set the finger joints is because he need to hold the sword, so need just like to grab the sword, and also when he is not grab the sword, he will relax the finger.
Okay.
So need do some animation change.
So when will that? So when do you get a chance to do that? Is that sort of a last? Do you do that as the last thing, or is that?
The finger?
Yeah.
Yes, actually we didn't do any. Yes, actually I did something. It just finish all the animations, then I will see, because I need to adjust the wrist a little bit, especially for the left arm, because like extremely pose.
Yeah.
So you need to fix your arms to make.
Because as we swing around,
Yeah.
that wrist, the over wrist is okay, but
Yeah,
this one's
if
going
the
right
hand
there.
is totally followed by the sword, it's impossible.
Yeah.
So you need to change a little bit to make it looks natural.
Yeah. I've seen that in a couple of places where the bending of it just looks like it's way out there.
Actually, you couldn't see this part in today's video because I just started from this morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we still have Attack Animation 3 to do as well, don't we?
Yes.
Not today, but
Yes.
that's another session.
Next time. Next time is like a double attack. Is like your sword go to front, then go to side, and go back to your first pose. It's a very dramatic attack.
So we had to make Margaret jokes while you were out. Because
that is
you
funny.
weren't here to do them.
You mean I wasn't here to defend myself?
Well, no, because you weren't here to actually make the joke yourself. So we were talking about the bad character. You always want him looking at you. And we were doing the look at me, look at me.
Look at me, look at me, look
That's
at me.
That's the one we knew you would do that if you were here.
Oh, yeah.
So we did it for you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that's really
The whole
sweet.
Kath and Kim, look at me.
Kath and Kim, look at me, look at me.
Yeah. Margaret's Australian, of course.
No, just a quick study. And a wonderful role model
You didn't get that Melbourne accent from me.
from me. Uh-huh.
Not from me. You're getting confused with your vowels there. That's a Kiwi thing.
Yeah, but with a little bit of practice I can do the Western Australian one as well. Shit, it's hot.
Yes, that's it.
What's that from?
That's just how
That's just
West
Western
Australians talk. Yeah, so Margaret was there for a week and she could be West Australian. She could just pull it off.
Could barely hold myself back. I almost lost my Kiwi accent. Excellent. Sorry. My most excellent accent. We like to ridicule accents, especially Australian ones.
Well, Australians, as I've said many times, don't really have accents. That's why it sounds weird.
Yeah.
People expect an accent.
And they get one.
All right.
Right, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yes.
Silence. This is bad.
Yes, no dead air as we contemplate Australian accents.
We are still do the at this moment we are doing the smooth animation curves.
Yep. Once again, you'll hear that a lot in this transmission. Smoothing animation curves is the primary job. Once you've actually got the key poses done, smoothing animation curves is the primary thing that happens after actually moving or changing a pose, creating a pose.
So sometimes if you didn't smooth it, and then you will find maybe you need another key pose on some frames. Then you will find if you smooth the animation curves, after that you will find actually it didn't do anything wrong. It's because the animation curves sometimes they are just naughty.
Yes, so sometimes they just go out of whack all by themselves.
Yeah.
So there's probably some predictive software back there that does the smoothing for the most part, and sometimes it just gets it wrong.
So set my expectations. We started late. Are we going to do the full hour?
We will.
We will.
We will
We're
finish
gonna
late.
Push on till morning.
Yeah, partly because the film goes for an hour, and that's what we promised to deliver today. So we'll deliver that.
So I should brace myself for
I actually feel
more excellent ridicule.
I actually feel like I've really let everybody down by being late today. It was
Oh, bless.
terrible.
But we had a lovely time pitching at Coffee and Jam.
We did.
We did not
That
let
was
them
a lot
down.
of fun. I quite liked the questions we got too. Nice of Rob to talk so nicely about us.
That was very nice indeed.
That was very cool.
We love Rob.
And for this point is I take the motion track. That line is just show how the sword tips motion pass.
Thank you, Wendy.
Then we could find like sometime is you can see this or something wrong, but when you fix the animation curve, you cannot get the perfect result. So sometimes I will check the animation. What's this called?
Oh, that's embarrassing. I'm
Animation-
wearing the same clothes.
Who is?
Me.
So So what we're talking about, the locator that you've put on the...
Oh yeah, that is yeah. I show the animation track on the sword tip because I parent locate to the tips.
Yeah.
Then
which is really good technique, and you get to see that whole arc.
yeah.
From the game development point of view, you get to see where that sword's actually going to hit, which is really good.
It is good. You could have done with that when you were doing the reference video, since you whacked and whacked and whacked away and fucking miles off every time.
I did see. I already covered that when you were out of the room. I
Did
said,
you?
Yeah.
Oh.
I said Margaret will tell you I was shooting at her, but of course I'm just doing it towards.
It's not beneath me to point it out again.
But I covered myself.
No, the animation looks better than before now.
Yeah. No, that looks pretty good. So lots of animation of the head without taking his eyes off facing forward. So
Yeah.
lots of tilting and all the rest of it, but in general he's still looking at the opponent, the person that's battling him. So I'm expecting at any minute now you'll start tuning his skirt, which is
Tuning his skirt.
tuning his skirt, yes.
That's an interesting little phrase that you might want to elaborate on.
Adjusting his skirt so that it doesn't clip through his leg bones, or legs.
I never like my skirt to clip through my leg bones, I have to say.
No.
No, I'm just like adjust the timeline again to make the sword looks heavier.
Ah,
The
okay. So adding
animation.
some gravity to that sword.
Yeah, just like leave more time for the prepare animation, and then shorten the
High speed.
attack
Fuck yeah.
animation. The time for the attacked part.
He looks like a miniature doing that, doesn't he? He looks like a little toy soldier.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if you were to throw a ball in there and have him sort of hit it.
I know, that's what I said last time. It's baseball. So wing better.
Yeah. We'll do that in the outtakes.
Yeah.
No.
The other thing we're talking about is there's a point where Linda had trouble with the horns on the helmet and the sword intersecting, but we should just let him lop the horns off his helmet.
I think he should cut his own head off.
That's what Linda said.
Yeah.
Because it comes this way, he
Yeah.
should cut his own head off.
Fuck yeah. Hilarious. Since he's a zombie, what's going to happen? He's going to keep on going anyway.
Yeah.
A little bit blind, a little bit stumbly, but his head can give him direction. Fuck yeah,
Well,
hilarious.
actually, any
Look at
mortal-
this right there where he swings back. Whack through the neck.
Any mortal blow is actually supposed to kill them, but they do come back after a while once their souls
Exactly.
realise that they can go back.
Now I'm doing the cat animation.
Yeah. So what have we got? 4 bones in that cape?
Yes. 4 bones is the
And I wasn't wearing a cape, so this is all you having to figure this out, right?
yeah. Just need to imagine how the body move, and then you actually have some knowledge. You can know when you go to the left side, and if you wear a cover, and they will leave for the right side a moment, and then will follow your body go to the left side. So always just like following animation. So just if you go to left, and the cap will go to the right, and if you go to the right, the cap will fly to the left.
Yeah.
Looks like a tail.
Yes, that's exactly. But just sometimes the tail will.
Oh, look at him wagging. That's cute. So he looks quite threatening even with the cape on, but you look really threatening in the reference material. But I don't think you would have looked so threatening with the cape. I think you would have been a wee bit, just a little bit effeminate.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yep.
Possibly. Yeah.
Little boy with
Never
a
really
job to
seen
do.
myself in a cape. Well, not since I was a kid, and everybody wanted to be Superman or Batman.
Yeah, it's got.
I didn't want to be Batman because the Batman we knew as a kid was quite.
Batty.
Well, he was quite
Batshit?
strange. He had a stilted way of talking. It was Adam West, and Burt Ward doing this. Holy smokes, Batman! And the thing. So, Batman was hard to take seriously. I enjoyed watching it, but I didn't really want to be Batman.
That's fair.
I did like his Bat Cave though. And he had
Oh.
his own computer.
Well, who doesn't need a bat cave?
Computers were very sci-fi when I was a kid. You didn't actually have computers at home, but
Imagine that.
yeah. I used to. One of the things as a kid, I used to cover a cardboard box with butcher's paper, that white paper, and I used to draw dials on it and stick old blown light globes in it and make it look like my computer.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, I know. I was really into that.
And look what happened. Now you've got your own computer.
Yes. Well, in high school, I did make a kit computer, which was
There's a step up.
that was an interesting step up. And I think the next one I got after that was a little Sinclair ZX80. Sorry, I've completely co-opted the whole stream. So we're supposed to be learning about our animation, and we're learning about my childhood.
That's good.
Linda, did you dress up as Batman when you were little?
No.
What did you dress up as when you were little?
Just like a girl.
Dressed up like a girl.
That's all. You never
That-
dressed up in
that-
anything? No
that's no
costumes?
No. Really? Yeah. It's very interesting because we have different culture.
Well,
Yeah.
yes, but surely you have some.
You don't
Yeah.
have dress up in your culture?
Can't remember. Maybe.
You didn't get Mum's necklace and her big shoes and plump
Oh
around the
yeah,
house. And
sometimes we'll try my mom's clothes.
Oh, bless.
because that's culture free. That's every culture. I
Yes.
think, yeah.
But not Batman.
But not Batman.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you know about Batman?
Yes. But I think now, even the kids in China also wear costume like that, like Superman or
God.
Batman, something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, because we could see the same movie or animations, just like the whole world just like same thing sometimes.
Do you dress up now, like if it's Halloween or something like that? Do you actually? If you were invited to a Halloween party, would you dress up?
Yeah, if someone will invite me, we'll do something.
So who would you dress up as?
I will think about it. Not now. Maybe witch.
A witch. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, with a big, very sharp nose, right?
Ah, yes. Yeah, the traditional witch.
Does Chinese culture have a tradition of witches, or anything like that?
Yeah, it looks like just normal people.
Not so much then.
Yeah, not like the Western witch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, our Hansel and Gretel witch. We have a large variety of witches. Because in Bewitched, the witch was quite cute. That was Elizabeth Montgomery, as I remember, who I believe had a long-term addiction to alcohol.
So alcoholic then.
Yeah, somewhat. Although, yeah, I don't know on whose authority that came. I just remember being told that once. But
Well, it must have been true.
and the original guy that played Darren Stevens actually had, or was it the second guy? Actually had severe back problems, so he used to lie on a board between takes.
Huh.
Yeah, it would have been a jolly old studio there when they were
Oh.
filming Bewitched.
Truly.
But when the first year I thought about when the first Halloween, I thought maybe kids will knock the door and ask us for the candy.
Mhm.
So actually we prepared some candies, but actually no one is was
So you ate
That's
the candy
disappointing.
yourself?
Yes, of
Oh.
course.
Perfect. What a great tradition. That works out.
So looks like it's not a very traditional culture in New Zealand, right?
It's more of an American thing, but it's starting to catch on big time.
It's starting to catch on, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like people just enjoy the Halloween party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And drink lots of beer.
That's right. Yeah.
The Halloween party is definitely fun. I do like it when the kids do come to the door, though. And although I didn't get any this year because I'm way up the end of an alley. In
Alley
previous years when I lived over in, where did I live? Beckenham. We used to get, up to a dozen groups of kids come by, and that was always fun. Checking out their costumes, giving them candy, and of course we'd be dressed up too, so sometimes the kids would be scared of us. So.
Yeah.
All
Right.
part of life's rich tapestry.
So we're still going on with his cape.
Yes, that's a pain.
So are you just adjusting by sight at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is all judgment since I wasn't wearing a cape.
Oh my God, dead air again.
You panic too much.
You're too quiet.
Dead air's not really a problem here because there's nobody listening.
So what now?
What have we got? So we've got a handful of viewers. So yeah, dead
Dead air's
air's
always a problem.
dead air's not going to be. It's true. I did watch some streams by people actually talking about how to do Twitch streaming.
Yeah.
And dead air is a problem. So the people that do best are people with huge personalities. Just go out, they rant, they rave, they say stupid things, they laugh at stupid things, and then the moment a salient point comes up on the screen, they'll stop, move to that, they'll cover it brilliantly, and then straight back into it, and there's no dead air.
Oh well, best we lift our game then.
Yeah.
What are we watching now?
I think we're still watching the cape being modified, so we must be coming up close on our hour as well. I noticed that blue line has actually progressed quite a lot. Yeah, so we look like we're coming up to about 13 minutes. 12 minutes by the look of it to actually finish off. Yeah.
Is 12 minutes long enough for the Caped Crusader?
I don't know, that's actually quite a low sweep. I hadn't appreciated that on the sword.
Well, he's got to slit you through the middle, really, doesn't he?
Yeah, I guess so. That's the
Nice
idea of
swing
that
to
sort
the
of
waist.
swing, is to actually leave your intestines on the battlefield.
Nice.
The leg is shaking.
And there he is, showing off his split skirt. The very hot looking zombie.
Again, we still have not got to the bottom of what he has under the kilt, but hey, it's bound to be gross.
Well, actually, he did most of this animation without the skirt on, so you got to see him in his undies, but he's wearing long trousers, so it wasn't really that exciting. Oh, so a little view from on top there of how the cape would actually flick around. That does look very natural, I have to say.
For a zombie?
That's not bad. That's not bad for no reference.
It's all because I did lots of training on that part. it was a nightmare when I work in China because our traditional story game is all about the the heroes. They wear a very long dress and they have long hair. Even they have long beards to go follow them. Yes, in that moment, and we did a lot of animation, do those kind of like dress.
Okay, so you can actually do dresses and skirts and stuff like that and how they... Yeah. Well, have you done that on the female zombies? I haven't seen many of the female
No,
zombies.
we didn't do the dress animation part. We just rig the dress and make them just follow the leg part.
Okay.
Because we want to just make sure we didn't do lots of bounce setting on that on the zombies. Because if we set lots of like the joints for the dress, the long dress, especially for the long dress one, it will be plenty of
Wow, so people can probably hear it starting to rain here quite significantly. We have no ceiling as such. We're right under the roof, so it's very
We
noisy.
actually do have a ceiling. It's not as primitive as you make it sound.
Well, I'm not sure you'd call that a ceiling.
It's a ceiling, and maybe we don't have any insulation. But rest assured, we do have a roof. We are not exposed to the elements.
We have a roof, but that's not a ceiling. That is insulation that's actually packed under there.
That's not a knife. This is a knife.
Yeah. It's like Christchurch have a lot of raining in winter.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So always
And a fair
feels
bit in
so
summer, I
cold.
always think.
Yeah, raining for all the seasons.
So you think Christchurch is cold?
Not cold, just like wet.
Yeah. So do you go off and make a snowman as soon as there's snow on the mountains?
It's not the weather. I quite like it, but I really don't like the weather in Wellington, because
Wellington,
they
no.
are windy, strong
Yeah.
wind every time when I arrive that city.
Windy Wellington.
Yeah.
When I first came to New Zealand on holiday, they had a new building that had just been built, and they had a policeman standing guard down the bottom because the wind was actually blowing out the windows on each floor after floor. Because part of it was open and part of it was closed, so the wind was just able to blow the windows out.
Yeah.
So you'd imagine walking down that street and these huge slabs of glass actually dropping down on you.
That sounds like
I
fun.
think we nearly finished that animation.
We do. It looks like we're
And-
now looking at the slow version so we can see how it looks.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's another episode over, I guess.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, everybody, for tuning into our stream today. We are transmitting the development of our zombie survival horror game, After the Light, every day or every weekday at 1 p.m. New Zealand Standard Time, which is UTC plus 12. So please join us tomorrow at the same time, where we'll be doing something else to be announced. Okay, bye for now. Bye-bye.